From Church Militant Studios, this is the Church Militant Evening News.
Hello and thank you for joining us this Friday, February 17th. I'm Hunter Bradford. Happy Friday. I'm here along with James Fedua here with Catholic News and Context. Tonight, a priest you're probably familiar with by now is being declared a prophet. And not many governors can make parents and teachers happy, but this one can. And we have proof that God can turn a horrific event into a beautiful celebration.
Leading us off tonight, after a week since the FBI's leaked memorandum blasting Catholic organizations as extremists, the USCCB is finally responding. The memo released on February 8th mentioned Church Militant by name, referring to us as a, quote, far-right Catholic media outlet. Cardinal Dolan wrote the short response yesterday, February 16th, as the conference's religious liberty chairman. In part, his response says, "Let me first be clear. Anyone who espouses racism or promotes violence is rejecting Catholic teaching. But I agree with my brother, Bishop Barry Nestout, that the leaked memorandum was nonetheless troubling and offensive in several respects."
Cardinal Timothy Dolan's Archdiocese of New York announced on Wednesday it is closing 12 schools and merging 4 others. Families in the Bronx were hit hardest with 6 closings, followed by 5 closings in Manhattan and 1 school closing on Staten Island. The 4 schools merging into 2 are also in the Bronx. Families at a total of 16 schools are affected.
This has been home for us for the last 20 years. My nieces and nephew, my kids graduating from here. One that is graduating this year. It's really sad. A lot of time. One of the best schools in the Bronx.
Archdiocesan officials say shifting demographics and lower enrollment worsened by the pandemic are behind the school closing decisions.
Many times you can measure a man by the type of people he praises. So what does it say that Rome's director of vocations is praising an abuser priest? Needless to say, it's at least not good. Father Fabio Rossini is praising Jesuit serial abuser priest Father Marco Ivan Rupnik as a prophet. Rossini even featured the predator priest's artwork on the cover of his latest book, The Art of the Good Battle, Inner Freedom and 8 Evil Thoughts According to Evagrius Ponticus. Rossini released his book on Valentine's Day, exactly 1 day after a Pontifical Catholic University revoked the honorary doctorate it conferred on Father Rupnik. A week before the release of the book, the television channel of the Italian bishops invited Father Rossini to promote his book and prominently featured the Rupnik image during the interview. Rupnik was excommunicated for absolving someone with whom he was having sex, but was swiftly rehabilitated after. He is also accused of sexually abusing 20 nuns.
Joining us now to dive into this situation in Rome is our Rome correspondent, Dr. Jules Gomez. Jules, good to see you. How's the book doing? Does the publisher not know about Rupnik's scandal or know about it and just not care?
Surprises keep popping up in Rome, Hunter. Believe it or not, the book is now #1 on the Italian spirituality list. It's a bestseller. The publishers are the Pauline Books and Media. This is a global publishing empire run by the Daughters of St. Paul. And obviously they knew about Rupnik because they themselves in December were the first to withdraw 3 of Rupnik's books published by them. And they expressed solidarity for the suffering sisters who had been sexually abused by Father Rupnik. But here they are now publishing a book with his mosaic on the cover page.
They express solidarity with the victims, but then don't ask to remove his artwork on the cover of the book. It doesn't make sense to me. But because this is a Rome story, I have to ask about the Vatican, of course. I mean, they've got to know about this. If the Daughters of St. Paul do, how is the Vatican responding? Have they taken down Rupnik's artwork?
Well, on the contrary, and this is a shocking contrast with what the Brazilian Pontifical University have done. the Vatican, and we've talked about this before, used his artwork as the cover page for their latest stamp volume. And Pope Francis, as we know, invited Rupnik to preach a Lenten retreat, despite it being very clear that he had been excommunicated, rehabilitated, and his case was tossed out by the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, Hunter.
I want to do everything I can to defend Francis where possible. Like, maybe he doesn't know, but I'm beginning to think that he does know and just, ultimately doesn't care. But Jules, thank you for your reporting today and for your time.
Thank you, Hunter.
God bless you.
Alrighty, today a Vatican Archbishop begins a 4-day stint to Syria and Turkey, devastated by an earthquake over a week ago. Archbishop Claudio Gujarati has been assigned the duty of conveying the, quote, Holy Father's closeness to the people, according to a Vatican press release. Rescue efforts continue 250 hours after the disaster throughout the region. Yesterday, 4 people were pulled alive from the rubble in Turkey. Some survivors sit in the ruins mourning the loss of their loved ones who were unable to be saved. One rescue worker explained the heartbreaking predicament of their efforts.
It was not easy to find people. Actually, second days, third days and fourth days, still there was a lot of alive people. They were shouting at us for help. We tried to rescue all of them, but it was impossible.
The Vatican Archbishop will be surveying cataclysmic devastation difficult to comprehend. Recent reports put the death toll nearing 45,000, with 100,000 injured and 2.5 million left homeless.
In the Netherlands, the country's top cardinal is attempting to eradicate priestless masses in his country. Cardinal Willem Eijk wrote a letter to his diocese on February 14th informing them over the next 5 years he plans to eliminate Sunday celebrations without priests. According to the Pillar, vocations to the priesthood are in sharp decline in the Netherlands, and Catholics often gather together to celebrate the liturgy of the Word in the absence of a priest. This is permitted by the Vatican's Congregation for Divine Worship as long as certain guidelines are adhered to. But Cardinal Eijk says this new crackdown will allow the Mass to, quote, occupy its rightful central place among Catholics.
And an update now to the story we reported on last night involving the head of UK's March for Life. Late yesterday, a court in Birmingham cleared Isabel von Spruce of any wrongdoing after she was arrested in December for silently praying outside of an abortuary. Following the not guilty verdict, von Spruce urged people to stand up for their rights and those of the unborn.
In 2023, there are still certain members of our society who are having their most fundamental rights taken from them, the right to life itself, and that other freedoms are now being censored. The freedom to offer help, the freedom to speak, the freedom to pray, even the freedom to think. We must stand up for these fundamental freedoms and ensure that all our laws uphold them.
Catholics are rounding the wagons to fight against the Food and Drug Administration's approval of the baby murder pill. Last Friday, several Catholic organizations like the Catholic Bar Association, the Catholic Benefits Association, Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America, and several others signed on to an amicus brief in a lawsuit filed in November 2022. The November lawsuit was filed by a pro-life health org called Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine against the FDA for failing to abide by the legal obligations when approving mifepristone. And when we come back, it's good to see a win now and then, but a pro-life win? Well, that's even better. And stay tuned for the story of terrifying atrocity but courageous faith. Stay tuned, all that and more up next.
Thank you for watching the first half of Church Militant Evening News.
If you would like to watch the rest of today's episode, please click the link in the description, and we'll see you at churchmilitant.com. God love you.